For most of my life, I thought money was a physical thing. Paper, metal, numbers in a bank account. But the deeper I walked into Torah wisdom, the more I realized how mistaken I had been. Money is not matter. Money is movement. Money is energy. It responds not to effort alone, but to alignment. And the moment you shift your inner state, the outer world begins to rearrange itself in ways that feel almost supernatural. The Torah teaches that abundance is not random. It flows, like light, like breath, toward the vessels prepared to receive it. And when your vessel is open, clear, and aligned, money finds you with a precision that transcends logic. But when your energy is fragmented, when fear, resentment, confusion, or spiritual heaviness cloud the channel, wealth hesitates. It slows, it detours, it repels. I learned this only after watching my own life swing between seasons of stagnation and unexpected flourishing, each shift mirroring my inner world far more than my external actions. So before we go deeper, I want you to take a step with me, a symbolic act that aligns your energy with the flow we are about to unlock. Comment the phrase, "I align my energy with abundance." Speak it because words carry frequency. Speak it because intention spoken aloud becomes a spiritual anchor. Speak it because the moment you declare alignment, the energy around you begins to reorganize, subtly at first, then unmistakably. Once you grasp that money is energy, everything changes. You stop chasing wealth and start attracting it. You stop forcing outcomes and start creating openings. You begin to understand why some people work endlessly and remain stuck, while others seem to magnetize opportunities without strain. It is not favoritism, it is frequency. Every thought, every emotion, every belief emits a signal, and money, like any energetic force, responds to the signal that matches its nature. Rabbis describe abundance as a divine current. When you stand in alignment with it, you rise effortlessly, carried by a flow greater than your own strength. When you stand against it, through doubt, negativity, or spiritual disconnection, you feel heaviness, resistance, stagnation. That heaviness is not a sign of failure. It is an invitation to adjust your inner world. Because money does not vanish. It waits. It waits for coherence. It waits for clarity. It waits for you to become the vessel capable of holding what you ask for. And this truth leads us to a revelation hidden beneath every Torah teaching on prosperity. Wealth does not begin in your hands. It begins in your energy field. And your energy field follows laws, ancient, precise, unbreakable. Laws that determine why abundance flows into some lives and bypasses others entirely. Laws that show exactly what attracts wealth and exactly what repels it. Now that we've opened the door, it's time to step into the blueprint itself. The Torah's explanation for why money responds to alignment the way light responds to a flame. The Torah reveals something that took me years to truly understand. Abundance does not enter a life randomly. It follows structure. It follows alignment. It follows the energetic laws that govern the invisible architecture of the soul. When your inner world becomes a vessel capable of holding blessing, money flows toward you naturally. But when your vessel is cracked by fear, envy, confusion, resentment, or spiritual heaviness, the flow weakens, no matter how hard you work. This is why some people chase wealth for decades and never reach it, while others shift something internally and suddenly experience financial breakthroughs without changing their external efforts. The Torah explains it clearly. Blessings only rest where they can remain. If the vessel is unstable, the abundance cannot stay. And so the question is never, why don't I have more money, but rather, what inside me is repelling what I am asking for? I once spoke with a man whose life perfectly embodied this truth. He was disciplined, intelligent, hard-working, yet every opportunity slipped through his fingers. When he finally sat with a rabbi, the answer was almost disarming in its simplicity. Your energy is leaking, the rabbi said. You fear poverty so deeply that you are vibrating at its frequency. That fear repelled wealth the way darkness repels light. Because money, like any energetic form, seeks coherence, not chaos. And coherence is the essence of the Torah's blueprint. Your inner energies, thoughts, emotions, intentions must align with the state you want to attract. If you crave abundance but carry resentment, the energies contradict each other. If you desire financial growth but live mentally in scarcity, the signal collapses. Energetic contradiction is the #1 reason wealth bypasses a person entirely. The Torah teaches that blessing cannot enter a fractured vessel. But when alignment is present, something extraordinary happens. Opportunities appear that you did not chase. People offer help you did not request. Ideas arrive with clarity instead of struggle. Your timing improves. Your decisions sharpen. What outsiders call luck is simply the natural reaction of the universe responding to your coherence. And here lies the heart of the blueprint. Attraction begins long before action. People think money comes from strategy, but strategy is only effective when your energy supports it. If your vessel is misaligned, even brilliance yields little. If your vessel is aligned, even simple actions compound into abundance. The Torah invites us to examine ourselves honestly. Which energies in me are open, which are blocked, which attract and which repel? Because spiritual blockages are not metaphors. They are mechanical disruptions in the energetic flow that sustains prosperity. And understanding those blockages is the next crucial step. Now that we've seen the blueprint, we must turn our attention to the vessel itself. What strengthens it? What weakens it? And how can you expand your inner capacity so that abundance has room, real room, to stay? The Kabbalists teach that every blessing requires a vessel, a spiritual container capable of holding the energy you wish to receive. Without this vessel, abundance leaks. With a fractured vessel, abundance cracks. With a small vessel, abundance cannot grow. This principle, so simple and yet so profound, explained every confusion I ever had about wealth. It wasn't that life was denying me prosperity. It was that my vessel wasn't ready to hold it. A vessel, in spiritual terms, is your inner capacity, your emotional stability, your clarity, your discipline, your faith, your ability to stay grounded when opportunities come. If your vessel is shaky, abundance shakes with it. If your vessel is full of old residue, resentment, fear, unresolved pain, there is no room for new energy to enter. Blessings arrive but cannot remain. They spill, they fade, they collapse under the weight of internal contradiction. I knew a man who embodied this principle perfectly. He earned large sums of money several times in his life, yet always lost everything within months. Not because he was careless, he was in fact brilliant, but because his vessel was inconsistent. Dramatic emotions ruled him. His confidence fluctuated. His sense of worthiness was unstable. No matter how much abundance entered his life, it flowed into a vessel with cracks, and it drained out just as quickly. Contrast that with a woman I once guided who had far less natural opportunity. She earned modestly, yet the moment she strengthened her vessel, through gratitude, emotional regulation, and spiritual alignment, her income doubled within a year. Not because luck favored her, but because she finally became capable of receiving what was already trying to reach her. The Kabbalistic law of the vessel explains why two people with identical opportunities experience completely different outcomes. One rises, one remains stuck, one expands, one collapses. It's not about intelligence or privilege alone. It's about capacity. A small vessel cannot hold large blessings, no matter how much you desire them. So how do we strengthen the vessel? By expanding emotional stability, by cleaning out old negativity, by clearing spiritual residue, by aligning belief with intention, by cultivating gratitude as a daily habit. Each of these steps widens the container. Each step expands your ability to receive and sustain abundance without leaking energy or collapsing under its weight. And yet, there is a danger few recognize. Even with a strong vessel, Certain forces can quietly drain your wealth energy before you ever notice. These forces are subtle, spiritual, and often disguised as normal emotions. They operate beneath awareness, weakening your alignment until the flow of abundance slows to a trickle. Before we build the vessel further, we must confront these hidden blockages, because they are the true thieves of prosperity, and they sabotage wealth long before it reaches the physical world. There are blockages that you feel immediately: fear tightening your chest, doubt clouding your decisions. But the most dangerous blockages are the ones that hide beneath your awareness. They drain your energy quietly, slowly, consistently. And before you realize what has happened, your wealth attraction collapses, not because you stopped working, but because your spiritual circuitry dimmed. The Torah teaches that blessing cannot rest where energy is leaking. These blockages are the leaks. The first hidden saboteur is fear, especially fear of loss. Fear sends a loud, energetic message: I am not safe. And money, being a form of energetic flow, does not enter spaces dominated by instability. Fear shrinks your vessel. It tightens your spirit. It narrows your ability to see opportunity. You begin making decisions from survival instead of vision, and survival energy repels abundance every single time. The second blockage is resentment. Resentment poisons the vessel from the inside. It anchors you to past moments energetically, preventing forward movement. A person full of resentment cannot receive new blessings because their emotional field is cluttered with unresolved attachments. The Torah warns repeatedly: holding bitterness is like placing a stone in the path of your own blessing. The third saboteur is guilt. Many people carry unconscious guilt related to success. They feel unworthy, or fear surpassing family members, or believe wealth is morally suspicious. This guilt corrodes the vessel silently. Even when abundance approaches, the guilt pushes it away. It whispers, "Not me, not yet," and the universe complies. Envy, both given and received, is another potent blockage. When you envy others, you declare subconsciously that their abundance is separate from yours. When others envy you, their energy creates pressure around your prosperity. In both cases, the vessel destabilizes. Attraction weakens, flow slows. Then comes comparison, the quiet thief. Comparison disconnects you from your own path. It shifts your energy from creation to judgment. A person who judges their journey cannot magnetize abundance. Their frequency becomes scattered, fragmented, inconsistent. The Torah repeats this principle through story after story. Do not look at another's portion while neglecting your own. And finally, the scarcity mindset, the belief that there is not enough. This belief is a spiritual toxin. It collapses the vessel instantly. Scarcity attracts scarcity because energy echoes itself. When you live in lack internally, abundance cannot find resonance with you. The tragedy is that most people do not realize these blockages exist until the symptoms appear. Opportunity slipping, fatigue rising, confusion thickening, money stalling. But blockages, once seen, can be dissolved. The Torah offers practices designed not only to expose these leaks, but to clear them, cleanse them, and reopen the flow of prosperity. And this leads us into one of the most powerful teachings of all, the rituals that shift energy, elevate vibration, and allow your vessel to expand so wealth is not only attracted to you, but stays. When the Torah speaks of attracting blessing, it does not merely speak in metaphors. It gives structure, ritual, rhythm, practices designed to recalibrate the inner world so abundance can flow freely. These rituals are not superstition. They are energetic engineering. They stabilize the vessel, dissolve blockages, and raise the frequency at which your life operates. And once your frequency rises, money responds with unmistakable precision. The first and most essential practice is gratitude. Real gratitude, not polite words, but a state of consciousness. The Torah treats gratitude as an energetic magnet. When you acknowledge what you have, you expand the vessel. You create more space for blessing, Gratitude lifts the emotional field, removes heaviness, and sends a signal to the universe, I am ready for more. Practice daily, it alters your entire energetic identity. The second ritual is intention through speech. In Judaism, words are not descriptive, they are creative. Saying, I align with abundance, I am expanding, I am becoming a vessel for blessing, reshapes the energetic structure around you. Spoken intention becomes spiritual architecture. It organizes your thoughts, strengthens your emotional posture, and calibrates your vibration to one that attracts opportunity rather than repels it. The third practice is Shabbat consciousness, even for those who do not observe traditionally. Shabbat is not merely a day, it is a frequency. A pause that recalibrates your nervous system and cleans the spiritual residue accumulated throughout the week. When you rest intentionally, you enter a state where clarity rises and scarcity dissolves. Rest becomes a magnet for restoration, and restoration becomes a magnet for prosperity. The fourth practice is candle lighting intention. Light is symbolic of divine clarity. Lighting a candle with a clear affirmation, may abundance into my home, may clarity guide my decisions, activates both psychological calm and spiritual expansion. It signals to your subconscious that you are stepping into alignment, and the subconscious responds by opening pathways where resistance once lived. Another powerful Torah practice is tzedakah, giving, not charity, alignment. When you give intentionally, you create an energetic opening. You declare that you are a source of flow, not a storage container, and flow attracts flow. This act breaks scarcity instantly. It shifts you from contraction to expansion, from fear to trust, from I must hold tightly to I am connected to endless supply. Finally, there is the practice of mindful presence, being fully in the moment. Distraction fragments energy, presence consolidates it. When you act from a place of grounded awareness, your vibration rises, your intuition sharpens, your alignment strengthens. Together, these rituals form the Torah's formula for increasing magnetism. They cleanse, they elevate, they recalibrate. And with each recalibration, wealth energy, not just money, but opportunity, support, clarity, begins to flow toward you with increasing speed. But even more fascinating is what happens inside the mind as these practices take root. Because behind every spiritual law is a psychological transformation, and that transformation is the true engine of attraction. The deeper I went into these Torah practices, the more I understood that attraction is not mystical chance, it is neurological alignment. The brain responds to energy the same way the soul does. It expands in clarity, contracts in fear, and mirrors whatever intention you repeatedly feed it. This is why spiritual rituals work. They are not merely symbolic acts. They are psychological recalibrators that reshape how your brain interprets reality and responds to opportunity. When you light a candle with intention, the brain registers the moment as safe and grounded. Safety opens cognitive pathways. Groundedness heightens intuition. Suddenly, ideas emerge where confusion once lived. You notice possibilities that were invisible before. You make decisions without the interference of fear. The ritual alters your state, and your state alters your outcomes. Gratitude, too, has measurable psychological power. Studies show that gratitude shifts neural activity from the fear centers of the brain into regions associated with creativity, planning, and vision. The Torah has been teaching this for thousands of years. Gratitude expands the vessel because it expands your neurological capacity to receive. When you feel grateful, your body enters coherence. Your emotions and thoughts synchronize. And synchronized energy is magnetic energy. Even spoken intention, words whispered into the air, reconfigure the subconscious. The brain does not distinguish between a vividly spoken intention and a lived experience. It builds neural pathways in response to both. When you say, I am becoming a vessel for abundance, the brain begins wiring itself for that identity. You start acting differently, noticing differently, choosing differently. The world hasn't changed, you have. And because you changed, your world begins to follow. Fear and scarcity do the opposite. They scatter energy, they fragment attention, they tighten the nervous system. When fear dominates, the brain enters survival mode. In survival mode, you cannot build, you cannot expand, you cannot see opportunity. Torah teachings warn of this not as moral advice, but as energetic mechanics. Fear collapses the vessel, and a collapsed vessel repels wealth. But once you begin these Torah practices consistently, something breathtaking happens. The brain stabilizes, the emotional field lifts, the spiritual channel clears. You become someone who moves with purpose instead of panic. Your frequency becomes steady, coherent, attractive. People feel it, opportunities respond to it, life arranges itself around it. And it is here, right at the intersection of spiritual alignment and psychological coherence, that the true transformation begins. Because the moment your inner world changes, the outer world shifts to match it. And nothing reveals this more powerfully than the stories of those who have aligned their energy and watched wealth appear in ways they once believed impossible. I have watched lives change not because circumstances suddenly improved, but because energy did. And every story I'm about to share reveals the same pattern. When a person aligns their inner world with the laws of abundance taught in the Torah, wealth stops hiding. It starts moving toward them, not away. These people did not force prosperity, they attracted it by becoming the vessel capable of holding it. The first story is of Aaron, a man whose life felt like walking through fog. He worked tirelessly, yet nothing broke open. When he learned the Torah principle of gratitude as energetic expansion, he committed to it with sincerity. Each morning he spoke 3 things he was grateful for, and each night 3 more. At first, nothing changed externally, but internally, something softened, something brightened. Within weeks, he began noticing opportunities he had previously ignored. Within months, a job offer appeared, one he had not applied for, that doubled his income. He told me, the moment my energy shifted, my life followed. Then there was Miriam, trapped in a cycle of financial fear inherited from childhood. Scarcity had lived in her bones for years. When introduced to the ritual of candlelighting with intention, she resisted, feeling unworthy of abundance. But on the first night, she lit the flame and whispered, "I am safe, I am guided, I am expanding." She felt something crack open inside her. Slowly, fear began to loosen. Confidence rose. She started a small online business that, within a year, outpaced her main job. She once attributed her success to luck until she realized that luck is simply alignment in disguise. Another man, Daniel, battled envy, not his own, but that of those around him. Their silent heaviness seeped into his life, draining his motivation and clarity. When he learned Torah grounding practices, keeping a symbolic vessel of salt near his workspace and speaking daily intention, he noticed his energy reclaiming itself. His boundaries strengthened. His spirit stopped absorbing what wasn't his. And as the fog lifted, his business regained momentum, surpassing its previous records. "It felt," he said, "as if my atmosphere finally belonged to me again." These stories are not coincidences. They are demonstrations of law. Again and again, people experience the same sequence. First, alignment. Then, clarity. Then, opportunity. Then, expansion. When energy shifts, outcomes follow. When inner resistance dissolves, outer abundance arrives. The Torah's laws of attraction are universal, mechanical, reliable. Just as real as gravity, just as responsive as breath. And this leads us to a truth many still don't realize. You don't need to be Jewish to access these laws. These aren't cultural privileges. They're universal energetic principles that respond to anyone who practices them with depth and sincerity. Because abundance doesn't check identity, it checks alignment. The Torah may be the source of these teachings, but the laws they describe are woven into the fabric of reality itself. They do not belong to one people. They belong to the structure of the universe. That is why anyone from any culture can apply these principles and experience profound shifts in their relationship with money. Energy does not discriminate. Alignment does not require ancestry. Abundance responds to coherence, not heritage. I once taught these concepts to a man who had never touched a religious text in his life. He struggled with chronic financial instability and carried a deep belief that wealth was for other people. When he learned the Torah principle that money flows where energy is open, not necessarily where effort is greatest, his entire worldview shifted. He began practicing daily gratitude, grounding himself in stillness, and setting morning intentions. Within 3 months, his financial life stabilized for the first time in a decade. He told me, "It wasn't that money changed, I changed." Another woman, raised in a completely different spiritual tradition, was drowning under the weight of comparison. She felt behind in life, unworthy of abundance, and suffocated by the silent pressure of watching others succeed. When she learned the Torah law of the vessel, expanding capacity through spiritual clarity, she began clearing emotional residue each night. She journaled, she breathed, she released. Her energy opened, her vessel strengthened. Within weeks, opportunities began appearing without her chasing them. She didn't convert religions, she converted frequencies. The universality of these teachings comes from their foundation, human consciousness. Gratitude expands consciousness, fear contracts it, intention directs it. Clarity stabilizes it. Ritual anchors it. These are not Jewish traits, they are human traits. And the Torah's wisdom simply gives language and structure to what our souls already know instinctively. Where attention flows, energy follows. And where energy aligns, abundance arrives. Even neuroscientists unknowingly echo Torah teachings when they say that the brain reorganizes itself around practiced intention. Even psychologists echo it when they say emotional coherence increases opportunity recognition. Even economists echo it when they say confidence influences financial outcomes. The Torah framed these truths through spiritual law thousands of years ago, yet they remain universally accessible. I've watched atheists, agnostics, spiritual seekers, and religious practitioners alike experience transformation simply by applying these energetic principles. Because beneath all beliefs lives the same mechanism, the human vessel, capable of expanding or contracting according to one's inner world, and money responds to that vessel with absolute consistency. So the question is no longer, do I qualify for these teachings? The real question is, am I willing to align? Because once the answer becomes yes, the next natural step is integration, a daily rhythm that transforms these principles from ideas into lived abundance. And that rhythm is what we must build next with precision and devotion. To attract abundance consistently, alignment cannot be an occasional act. It must become a rhythm, an energetic hygiene routine that keeps your vessel open, your mind clear, and your emotional frequency steady. Wealth does not rise from isolated moments of clarity. It rises from sustained coherence. The Torah teaches that blessing flows where structure lives, and when you bring spiritual structure into your day, prosperity begins to recognize you as a stable home rather than a temporary visitor. The morning is the first portal. The moment you wake, your consciousness is undefended, impressionable, receptive. This is where intention matters most. Begin with a simple grounding practice. Place your feet on the floor, breathe deeply, and declare aloud, I align my energy with abundance today. This single sentence sets your frequency. It tells your brain what to filter for, your emotions what to hold, and your energy what to attract. When done daily, it becomes the compass of your entire financial reality. Next comes mid-morning alignment. This is where your vessel is tested. Distractions, frustrations, unexpected challenges. Choose a brief ritual to realign. A gratitude whisper, a deep breath, or a moment of stepping outside to reset your energy field. Think of it as cleaning the mirror before the dust settles. The more moments of clarity you create, the more your vibration stabilizes, and the easier it becomes for opportunity to locate you. In the afternoon, introduce a practice of mindful action. The Torah reminds us that abundance is not only energetic, it is also expressed through behaviors that reflect readiness. Take one small step each day toward your goals. A message sent, a plan written, a task completed. Action grounds energy. It tells the universe, I am not only open, I am prepared. Many people attract opportunities but lose them because they never anchor the energetic shift in physical movement. You will not make that mistake. Evening rituals are where integration deepens. Light a candle, sit quietly, and reflect on the day. What expanded you? What contracted you? What moments lifted your vibration? Which ones dimmed it? Awareness is purification. When you observe your inner world without judgment, you remove the residue that could contaminate tomorrow's alignment. This reflection practice is a spiritual exhale, releasing the heaviness that attracts stagnation. And finally, end your day with gratitude, not as a performance, but as a recalibration. Name 3 things that opened your energy today. Name 3 ways abundance touched your life, even subtly. Gratitude is the nightly reset that prepares your vessel to receive more. It expands you as you sleep, allowing clarity to rise when morning comes. When these practices weave into your daily rhythm, you stop being a person who tries to attract wealth and become a person who naturally does. Your energy stabilizes, your intuition strengthens, your path aligns. But all of this points to something deeper. A philosophy of prosperity embedded in Torah wisdom, a way of living where abundance is not chased but welcomed. And that philosophy is the final key we now step toward. Everything we've uncovered, money as energy, the vessel of the soul, the dissolution of blockages, the rituals that recalibrate your field, the psychology that mirrors the spiritual, leads to one central revelation. The Torah does not teach you how to chase abundance. It teaches you how to become abundance. Prosperity is not something you pursue outside of yourself. It is something you awaken within yourself. And when the inner world transforms, the outer world follows with unwavering loyalty. The Torah's philosophy of prosperity rests on 3 pillars: alignment, humility, and responsibility. Alignment is the coherence between your intention, your belief, and your emotional state. When your inner signals point in the same direction, wealth flows effortlessly toward you. When your signals contradict one another, desiring abundance but expecting scarcity, seeking growth while fearing expansion, the flow fragments. The Torah reminds us blessing requires unity within. Humility is the second pillar, not as self-deprecation, but as spiritual spaciousness. A humble heart does not cling to fear. It does not shrink from possibility. It does not block divine flow with ego or insecurity. Humility is the openness that allows abundance to land softly, consistently, sustainably. Money comes easily to those who are not afraid to receive it and not desperate to control it. The Torah's greatest figures lived in this paradox. Grounded yet expansive, modest yet magnetic. The third pillar is responsibility. Abundance is not simply a reward. The third pillar is responsibility. Abundance is not simply a reward, it is a trust. When the Torah speaks of wealth, it ties it to purpose, stewardship, and contribution. The more aligned your purpose becomes, the more the flow of abundance strengthens, because you are no longer attracting money for survival or status. You are attracting it to fulfill the work your soul came here to do. Purpose amplifies energy, and energy attracts resources. This philosophy transforms the way you walk in the world. You begin to move not with desperation, but with clarity, not with fear, but with certainty, not with scarcity, but with expansion. You become a vessel that does not leak, a mind that does not fracture, a spirit that does not shrink. Prosperity recognizes this posture. It gravitates toward it. And now, as we close this journey, carry this blessing within you. May your energy remain open, your vessel remain strong, and your life become a magnet for divine abundance. Let your actions reflect alignment. Let your words reflect purpose. Let your heart reflect gratitude. These states are not accessories to wealth. They are the architecture of it. Before we part, allow this truth to root deeply in your spirit. You are not trying to attract abundance. You are remembering how to return to the frequency where abundance already lives. The Torah does not show you how to chase money. It shows you how to host it. And when you become a home for abundance, it cannot help but come.